Warning, the following video is about a baseball video game. No harm was meant in the converse of opinions. Maintain perspective, discuss, and further the conversation in the comments section. I love you all. What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV, and in today's video, we're going to talk about a DH being in Diamond Dynasty ranked mode. So yesterday, it was kind of in the news that Zach Gallen had hurt himself swinging the bat. And there's been a lot of talk recently. We had last year the universal DH in the AL and the NL. And I was streaming yesterday. You're seeing some footage of that right now. And I just went over to my Twitter midstream and kind of posed the question, should there be a DH in Diamond Dynasty ranked? And I've, for a long time, been a proponent of the DH IRL. Huge proponent of it for a long time. And I think the injuries are really putting a lot of people that were kind of on the fence more towards the side of the universal DH. I know a lot of people like the strategy, but when it comes to Diamond Dynasty, is it something that would be good? Is it something that would be bad? And we got the results from the poll, and we've got a lot of people that have weighed in. It's something I find that's generally pretty interesting is, I don't know if it's if you post a video or if you post a tweet or something like that. I feel like a lot of people, when they agree with something, they just kind of agree and they keep it moving. And then I feel like when people disagree and I'm the same way, we're like more likely to share comments. So when you look at the actual poll results, what I found interesting is, first of all, most people did end up voting that they wanted a DH in Diamond Dynasty ranked. 66.3% of people voted yes, and 33.7% of people voted no. We had 1,682 votes. But the people that commented on the tweet were more than anything, they were way more against it. So people that commented on it definitely did not want it to be implemented. At the end of the video, I'll share my opinion on it, but I want to get some of the discussion going, and I want to just have this be an open forum that we can think about whether or not we should have a DH in Diamond Dynasty. The first comment comes from Dimu TV. Daddy Dimu TV. Respect him immensely. Big time streamer in the community. Hilarious. Definitely go check out his work. And Dimu never he's a straight shooter, and that's what I like about him. He says, damn, the people that said yes are dumb. Would be terrible in DD. Maybe fun to do DH events, but wowie, that would be dumb. I think maybe that's a starting point for the DH. Try it out in an event, something like that. Peter McGuigan Goobs has been around for a long time. He says, I genuinely want to hear the 70% and their explanation why they voted yes. LMFAO. Dumo responds to that with, bro, you can use more cards. Too many bench type players. Nah, homie, you'll use 9 cards, and that's your team. Never using your bench. Laugh out loud, that's dumb. McGuigan says, never using your bench and people running platoons like it's MLB 16 again. It takes a huge mind skill gap away if you add in the DH. The best in the world know when to leave their pitcher in big spots or to full send and take them out and go for it all. Now, I would say that it's not a huge mind skill gap, in my opinion, of when to take the pitcher out and leave the pitcher in. I don't think that's something that takes a lot of skill from an IQ standpoint of when to leave the, I think what really happens, is in my personal experience, is people just pull the pitcher because you have so many other options to bring in another pitcher. I think you could be the worst player in the world at the game and still realize, like, hey, let's pinch hit here and take out the pitcher. I don't think it's I don't think it's like I don't think it's a very difficult decision. I feel like it's a known decision that if anything, like 9 times out of 10, you're just going to err on taking the pitcher out. So I get where you're coming from with that, Googs, but I don't think it's like a huge mind skill gap. I think it's mostly just taking the pitcher out. Let's see what Ms. Freak Beast has to say. He says, if they're releasing a Kluber day 1, then no. It was the only way to get him out of the game early on. Sometimes you need the strategic equalizer. It's an interesting thing. That's something we've been talking about a lot on stream too lately. Is who's going to be that Kluber? Who's going to be that Kershaw? JG's brainstormed. He's brainstormed Verlander. There could be a possibility. Is Sale going to be there? Is Arrieta going to be there? Who's going to be that one card that we get in the XP reward path that's going to be that dominant pitcher early on? Let me know who you think that's going to be. We got one comment that says, personally, I don't care enough anymore. I completely understand about that. Austin Thune, big stream as well, says 72% of people who vote on this have no clue what they're doing. That's kind of what I was saying. It's like, I'm seeing all these votes of people saying yes, but the comments were more like, no, 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 no. I found that very interesting. I just think that's like one of the things about social media that we see more. It's like there's definitely when you don't agree with something, you're just more likely to like type something back in response. Bryson says, for sure. Domophobic says, I say yes, but in an RNG matter. I think it should be determined once you get in game. Have like a wheel that spins for no DH and DH. If people quit because it lands on DH or no DH, you lose rank points. Like it loads up the lineup. You get into the stadium, it does the spade. Chris Rad says wouldn't mind. So I think he's in favor of having the DH. Breezy says yes, it'll give people a chance to use different variety of cards that they would never use because of defensive liabilities. Bruce City says DH leaves when your starting pitcher leaves. Pinball says, I'd have it for some race seasons events and BR bosses and then change it for others to have the main lineup have a main lineup with DH and without. Christian says, unless you're pitching with Ohtani. Paul Spohr, the legend, the man, says, LOL, God no. Vehemently against. K2 Dub says, might be the first year I actually play Dynasty instead of franchise. That has nothing to do with it. I don't know when I read that. Emmett Miller says, I'm a purist. What can I say? Let's see. Tay Stevens says, I think you should be able to choose which league you're in, AL or NL, and then go from there. Suda says, I voted no because I think it will be more bad than good, but hear me out. Only allow a DH in offline play. Justin says, Dev said they don't want it years ago, but if MLB changes the rule, it might force their hand. Prophet Zach says, needs a bad, too many guys that you only can say good bench bad about. And it lets you try new players all the time. Matthew White says, no, DD lineups do not need an offensive boost, and we aren't worried about pitchers getting hurt while batting. Baseball is better when pitchers bat. LeMessy says yes. John Adler says, especially since I can't seem to tune buns well or even close to well, let alone let us use some of the more great hitters in the game. Logan says, IRL, obviously, yes. Not sure about the game. I like the old-time feel with the strategy of when to pull pitchers and everything. I don't like it IRL, but since you can't have players get hurt in the game, I'm actually kind of for the pitchers hitting, if that makes sense. Although I hate the fact that Edgar Martinez, David Ortiz, etc. aren't essentially delegated to pinch hitter due to lack of defense and flexibility. Aaron says, since it's cross-platform, they should have events or something where one console has a DH and the other doesn't, mirroring the NL AL style and just rotate it. This is a great idea for events and stuff, Dimu says. Eli says, yes, please. And that's pretty much the gist of the conversation so far. So in the comments, make sure that you leave a comment. I'm going to give you my thoughts on the DH. So, all right, so let me give you my opinion on the entire thing. So personally, I I'm so against the IRL. You know, especially being a fan of an AL team, we go play an NL team. Our pitchers, they're not ready to hit at all. They're just not ready to hit. The risk for injury is extremely high. Their at bats is not going to tally much of anything whatsoever of consequence, and we don't even care as AL fans. Just get our pitcher out of there so he doesn't get hurt. I personally, I mean, that's the one thing that's making people jump over. But it's also, to me, it's just so super boring to hit with the pitcher. They have like no hitting stats whatsoever. It's basically a free out. The only strategy, I also think the strategy gets really blown out of proportion. Like, you got to be some rocket scientist to figure out when to pull the pitcher and when to lay down a bunt. When you've got, even in IRL, dude, like, you've got like multiple bullpen arms with huge arms. Like, just go to the bullpen and get the pitcher out of there. Like, it's not a lot of strategy. Very, very rarely you're just going to keep the pitcher, in my opinion. Like, I think most of the time, just take the pitcher out. Like, we got openers now in baseball. We're not trying to stretch guys to pitch like 140 pitches. They're more effective in small sample sizes anyways. I just think the strategy gets so far overblown. It's either like leave them in and try to have them bunt, hope for a hit, or they're going to strike out. Now, I'd much rather have the designated hitter. I just would. Personally, I think for in the game, it does open up a lot more cards that you can use. And it allows you, I just don't buy into the fact that you would never have to use your bench. Like, you could have a situation where you have like Griffey Jr. in your outfield and you face a lefty. Maybe the first time around you're facing a lefty, you leave him in. Maybe later in the game you want to pinch hit with Willie Mays, you know, and have a righty versus lefty opportunity. I still think you can use the bench in that regard. You could pinch hit for your DH every time. You could pinch hit like a lot within the game and still use them that way. I don't think you'd be stuck to those 9 cards, and you wouldn't have that boring at bat with the pitcher, which is going to be an automatic out. So for me personally, I would like the DH of the game. It'd open up cards like Frank Thomas. It'd open up cards like David Ortiz. It just gives it. When we did it in the Content Creators League, I really enjoyed having a DH, and so I got to experience multiple games with it. There's not like the intentional walk of the 8th hitter to get to that pitcher for the free out. It's not stopping a rally. I feel like like most of the times, like, you're just gonna pull the pitcher. I don't feel like there's a lot of strategy. That's my opinion. Let me know your opinion though down in the comment section below. Again, I like having these discussions. You know, no one's necessarily right, no one's necessarily wrong. Just have your opinion, see where it goes. Thank you so much for the poll. Thank you so much for the responses. Whether you agree with me, whether you don't agree with me, I appreciate the response and the discussion, because with the response and the discussion on both sides, we get to what it should be a good, conclusive answer. And to tell you the truth, you know, at the end of the day, I would be fine with not having the DH. I'll be fine with having the DH. Either way, it's going to be fine. Maybe we should test it out in events. We got to think about creative stadiums online. Creative stadiums online. Maybe I'll do a video on that soon, talking about how I feel about that. And you can let me know if you enjoyed this style of video too. You made it to this point in the video. Let me know. All right. Have a great one, y'all. Peace.